Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. Here, this is the spot where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Welcome home, Brains. There's only one requirement to hang out on the edge, is that you open your big brain and close your small mind. Did you bring your thinking caps? It's time to put them on, because the conversation starts now. To On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. How are you today? I'm happy to see you. We have Lorna Whiteaker from Northern California here with us on the Edge. She is a woman in business, but not just that. She is an innovator, an impactor, an influencer. She has worked with hundreds of businesses and individuals to teach them how to scale, how to look at their business, how to make wise decisions. She's a consultant and a coach. She had years of experiences with one of my nonprofit organizations, SCORE. She's going to tell you about that and a whole lot more. Let's welcome her to the show. How are you, Lorna?
I am amazing today. Thank you so much for this opportunity to chat with you. I'm so looking forward to it and for bringing this wisdom that I have to share to your audience, your brains. So very excited about this today.
We need it because you know what? The people are enamored with that big $25 word. Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. Oh, I'm a coach. Oh, I'm a mindset transformationalist. Well, we're going to break that down to the cellular level because brains, those, again, like I said, are big $25 words. They're ambiguous. Just because you want to be an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you can be a successful entrepreneur. And it's more than just about making money. It's about making sense, and it's not just about coaching. You cannot be a coach if you're still sitting on the bench. You cannot be an innovator or a leader if you've never been a good follower. So tell us a little bit about your where you show up in the world, Lorna, and your success.
All right. Well, thank you for that. April. I was in the legal industry. I started out as an employee, like most entrepreneurs. They start out as employees. They don't always start out as business owners. And so I was in the legal industry, started out as, secretarial and became an accounting manager and those kinds of things. And I looked after their business. So all of my life, I really have been helping business owners run their businesses, either doing the work or doing the what they might call the back office section, building systems and structures that work and serve. So I've been doing that for 35 years. Back in the early part of the 2000s, during the housing crisis, I lost my job for the first time in my entire life.
Pump the brakes right there. Pump the brakes just right there, real quickly. How did that make you feel when you lost your job for the first time? Was that deflating, debilitating? Was it a sense of wonderment? And I'll get back to that, but I just want to get your raw emotion at that point. How did that make you feel?
I was actually excited. It was an opportunity. It opened a door for me that I had never gotten unemployment before. I knew that I had a little safety net, and I thought, I will start my own business now. There's something I had wanted to do for a long time. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs hold off for years and years and years from starting their businesses because fear. They are afraid of not having a safety net. So I didn't do that. I was raised to be an employee. I thought that was where my security was going to be. I thought that's where my financial health and wealth was going to come from, and it didn't. It was not coming from there. And so I said, I will start my business. And so I did. 15 years ago, I started my business.
Wow. Because the first time that I got fired, I was like, scratch my head. I was like, really? What do I do now? How do I, is anybody else going to hire me? How am I going to speak to this in an interview? But then it was awe-inspiring because I felt liberated. I mean, Brains, you have not lived until you've been laid off or fired. Really? Really?
I agree. I agree that it can be scary. The thing is that once you get past that fear and you go, what am I going to do next? You just
Mhm.
ask the question, what am I going to do next? And business owners run into that question all the time. So if they're starting to be in overwhelm, or they're stressed all the time, or they're just simply not making enough money, they go, I'll go back to being an employee. And they
Mhm.
most almost always go, I just can't do that. I can't live my purpose being somebody else's employee.
Right.
I
And W-2 employees, there's no disrespect in that.
know,
That I mean, that is how you make the machine run. But what you also have to do is understand that you are an individual contributor to that organization. And
yes,
when you're there, you can't just be sitting there like lunch meat.
no,
Okay. There's contact that you've built, there's things that you've learned, there are meetings that you have been in, there is process improvements, there's contributions that you made. Go back and look at your evaluation, look at where you could have improved, look at the successes that you've made, look at your Rolodex. These are things that you can take with you when you leave a company, whether you're moving to another one or you're moving to entrepreneurship, right, Lorna?
absolutely. And I think that one of the pieces that you mentioned is, look at your successes. Your experience as an employee actually laid a lot of the groundwork, the foundation upon which a business can be built. Now,
Mm,
if being in business right now is not financially feasible for you, that's fine. Stay an employee. I know lots of people who start their businesses as side businesses. And all I say to that is treat it like a business. Begin building your foundation and your fundamental pieces to make sure that it's already ready to go when it starts. You can start seeing that shift where all of a sudden maybe your financial situation changes just enough where you can say, I've built those important contacts. I now have been running this business or doing it part time for 6 months, a year, maybe multiple years. And then all of a sudden you can see that you're at that tipping point where you can go, you know what? I can walk away from what I was doing as an employee and transform that into a
right.
business that I love. It's
Absolutely.
such an amazing experience when all of that happens. I actually was fortunate in that I was able to get unemployment. The guy I was working for simply said, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go back and I'm going to be an employee for a big corporation where I can guarantee my income. And he said, so
Mm,
I'm going to have to let you go. And I went, okay, well, you know what? I'm in a place where I can supplement what I need with, unemployment. Now, the real thing that one of the things I would like to share is that I'll tell you, I thought I knew what it took to have a financially successful business when I opened my doors. Okay, so when I started out as just offering bookkeeping services. I like bookkeeping. I'm really good at it. I know how to do payroll because of all my experience working for other people as
right.
an employee had built this huge value of who I was with these experiences and skills. It was fantastic. However, my first year, I made about one third of what I needed.
Mm,
One third, because I didn't really know what it took to be financially successful. This idea that if you build it, they will come doesn't work so well. It
right.
really doesn't happen that way.
Right.
And
And also,
mhm,
you need money to make money. You have to make the investment in yourself. Is that with a coach? Is that with additional training? Is that going back and taking classes? Is that joining SCORE? Is that finding a mentor? Is it
mhm,
going out on free informational interviews? I used to do that when I worked in corporate America. You best believe I knew everybody from the janitor to the CEO
mhm,
because I networked inside the organization. I made friends. I built alliances. I wanted to know. I would go into the sales. I used to love sales. I still love sales. But I go into the sales department and I ask the sales manager, hey, look, can we spend our break together? Can we, go out and have lunch? together. I want to pick your brain. I want to ask you some questions.
Mhm.
Number one, it strokes their ego like no other. But number two, the information that you get, you're going to dodge a lot of bullets. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Absolutely. You have to keep learning. I'm a huge follower of Inc. magazine. I regularly read it and read their posts because it keeps me in touch with what's going on, what people are experiencing, and changes and things like that. You have to be a lifelong learner. Have to be a lifelong learner. And one of the other pieces that you mentioned is you have to continue to build connections with people around you. So
Right.
whether they're local connections or whether they're international connections, it's just not you're not going to survive if you're not learning what other people are experiencing. And this
Mhm.
is this is why my participation as a consultant for SCORE was so useful, because I got to meet hundreds of business owners, new business owners, in business owners, people that were struggling, people that are having problems. And and that's kind of helped me to evolve as well, because I identified what it was that business owners were missing. But I will tell you that one of the missing pieces is a lot of they don't have the systems, structures, and financial skills in play for their businesses. And that's where I gravitated to actually in my third year in business. In my second year of business, I said, I have to do this differently. Um, I know how to set goals. And in the legal industry, you have to be ready for trial. So I'll set a goal. If I made roughly one third of what I needed to make, well, then let's triple my income. Let's triple my income. Let's target that. And then I worked every day, and this is something that I teach people, work every day doing something that's going to move my business forward. I had
Right.
a financial goal for that day. However, I didn't worry about it if I didn't hit it. I only looked at it and said, what did I learn because I didn't hit my number today? What do
Right.
I need to do tomorrow to get closer to that number? And so I learned how to start hitting the number. And it took a few months before I started hitting the number consistently.
But what happens also too is planting the seed and mining. You look at social media right now.
Mhm.
Social media is the yellow and white pages of the 21st century. Now, me and Lorna are dating ourselves, honey, because we already know about the you would cold call people. You would go through that and every John Doe that was listed. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Again, people would answer your calls. But now people cast this wide net. They want to have all of these followers. Does
Mm,
that equal conversions? No.
no.
I am looking for quality. I'm 62 years old. I'm not looking for the groupie love. Okay? I'm looking for the movers, the shakers, the influencers and impactors. People
Yes.
that are in alignment with my message
Yes.
that I can learn from, they can learn from me,
Hmm.
that we can network, that we can collaborate, that we can grow, and that they understand the energy of money. Money is fluid. Money
Hmm.
is something that needs, like fabric, to be weaved in and out. Setting a goal. I work with only 5 people a year. I coach 5 people a year, brains, and I only coach them for about 10 hours. And what I do is I don't go from cradle to grave. You've already got to be in the trenches. You've already got to show me that you've got an interest. And what I do is I help you scale up. I
Hmm.
look at it from an eagle eye view, a lot like SCORE. SCORE helps people from the beginning, but they
Hmm.
really get in the trenches with you if you're there and they know that you're dedicated. Tell them a little bit about, what SCORE is and what they do, and then, how you were able to capitalize on that and move on and enhance your own personal business.
Oh, thank you. I would love to. So, SCORE is a nonprofit, or they don't charge the people that they serve. So that's really, really a big place, because a lot of business owners, whether they're want to start a business or whether they want to grow their business, they don't have those financial resources and they have a lot of uncertainty and fear. So they want to show up and get some help. So SCORE does that for them. What I did for SCORE was I did provide leadership for the chapter. And one of the things that I took on is that we only had one workshop a month. It was the Starting a Business workshop, a great workshop, a 3-hour workshop packed with knowledgeable presenters on financials, the soft skills and the hard skills, that people needed. But 3 hours is not enough, but it's a great place to get started. Someone wanted to ask me at one of the workshops, well, how do I get started? I said, you put your foot on the yellow brick road. Just step on to the road and follow it. And there are people that will help you along the way. And SCORE is a great place for you to start. Mm-hmm. So I created 6 workshops a month. So by the time I left, I had groomed more presenters, more leaders for the workshops. And I left them with 6 workshops a month: marketing, sales, starting a business, business planning, things like that. And those are still offered today. And I helped that chapter, it reach the top 2% of all national chapters just in a really short period of time, within about 3 years. It took them from 0 to just top 2%. It's a great deal of pride for me.
Yeah. So you've worked in the infrastructure, and give my brains a couple, 2, 3 great tips that they need to do when they are moving in that trajectory of trying to build a business. Again, we've already conquered the fear. You got to be a risk taker. But again, creating an infrastructure, what are the top 3 things that they need to start with?
Oh, thank you for asking. Okay. The first one is, so a lot of the stuff that I teach and what you need are not very sexy. Okay. So bookkeeping is a fundamental element of your business. It's part of one of the laws of success. You have to know your numbers, and there's no other way that you're going to do it, but you're going to have to operate your books. You're going to have to keep track of your money in and your money out, and you're going to have reports that you understand how to read. So that's a financial skill that I teach. How to read those reports. I do teach bookkeeping, usually for other nonprofits. They bring in large groups, and I teach them the bookkeeping skills. So that's something that I'm still doing for nonprofits. So most business owners don't have time to go over to the local college and spend 2 years learning bookkeeping. It doesn't take that long anyway. So understanding the fundamentals, super important, and then you start working on it. As soon as you start your business, start learning to track your numbers. It makes an enormous difference on your financial health. So that would be
mental health, your mental health. You're
absolutely
always chasing the carrot. Brains, it is exciting. When you hit that number, you hit that goal, because I'm looking at my numbers for the year in, and I'm excited. I need just to, get a couple more things, and I'm just keep pushing. It keeps you focused. That's right. Tell them, Lorna.
Yeah. So the thing is, people think that bookkeeping is harder than it is. It's not hard. It's really 2 + 2 - 6 - whatever plus this. It's not more complicated. And today's software can make it easy. But if you wait until your business is 5 or 6 years old before you start paying attention to your numbers, you're going to be in trouble. Chances are you won't see 5 or 6 years. So start now. Start simple. Get somebody to help you. Get some learning. SCORE has workshops. There are people there. There are other bookkeepers around that would be happy to assist you. First and foremost, though, you need to know how to do your books first by yourself before you hire a bookkeeper.
Right.
You must be able to do that.
And people will have trickery brains. Okay. Sign your own checks. I can't tell you how many people that I have come across, and I work with people in the entertainment industry, and it was sad we'd had to take up collection at the end to put them away because they did not know the business. It is a business. Know how much is coming in, what's going out, who is signing your checks. Have a system to where maybe there's 2 people that sign or sign off. Look at your statements. Don't just get excited at the fact that, oh, wow, this was a $5,000 month. Yeah, but you might be $6,000 in the hole.
Right. So this is a system and structure that you absolutely have. So the very first one that I say, I say, get a business checking account. It makes a difference. Go ahead and do that. But one of the fundamental building blocks of success is going to be knowing your numbers and doing your books and getting those financial skills in play for yourself. That would be probably my first one. My next one is one that I kind of missed in the first year and learned better the second year, is learn how to make a sale.
Mm.
Marketing is not the same thing as making a sale.
Tell them, Lorna.
Yeah, and you got to get excited. And it's about making connections, it's about building relationships, and it's about keeping your agreements. If
That's right.
you've got to do that. So they talk about talking to their pain point, and there's all this different stuff coming at you. The thing is that if you're interested in helping people, okay, and bringing your service to them, then you are going to need to know how to make a sale. And
Mm.
and so I'm going to say that of all the things that you need to learn, that's probably the second most important one, how to make a sale.
Let me interject right there. Brains, what you have to understand too is that sales is sexy. Sales is a psychology.
Mm.
You sell to value.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just push stuff on people. You have to be a good active listener. What do they need? How can I color in the white space? What is it that I provide that will alleviate or support what they need? They will tell you what they need. Don't sell somebody a blue Mercedes if they came in for a VW van. That's not what they want. Try to find something in the middle. Provide options, good customer service,
Mm-hmm.
follow up. Okay? If they do not respond the first time, follow up a second time, follow up a third time.
Mm-hmm.
Three for me is a charm. If you're not responding by the third time, you're not interested, you don't
Mm-hmm.
have the money, or you're in a different direction, and then I need to move on. There are 8 billion people on the planet, and
Yeah.
sometimes that person is not your person or your client. Thank you for that, Lorna, because I'm telling you, I love sales, but again, I sell to value.
Yes. And that is one of the, the laws of profitability is going to be selling to value. So remember that our experiences, who we are, what we care about, what we're passionate about is one of the values that we bring to the table. The other value that we bring to the table is what it is we actually do. Okay, the service that we provide, whatever that looks like. And then the third value is what are my clients going to come away with? What are they going to learn? And when you learn to speak to those three pieces, and frankly, they really only want to know what's in it for them. Let's get real. What's in it for them? That they want to know that we can do that. So that's a second skill that I would say to really master and practice, and it's going to occur in your listening, it's going to occur out of selling to value, and it's going to occur out of networking like crazy. You got to network, you got to get connected.
Let me ask you another question. Establishing your price and your cost. There's a lot of people in the industry that lowball themselves or they do things for free. Now, don't get me wrong. When you do things for free, like you were a phenomenal volunteer for SCORE, but there was an ROI for you too,
Mm-hmm.
because there was value. It may not have been tangible in dollars and cents, but the knowledge, the connections, the wisdom, the access that you got, you couldn't put a price on that. But when you're in a business, everybody wants to come in on the low end because you think that that is what is going to draw customers. I have found that is not the case. You have to do your research. You have to see what other people in the market are charging, but also, can you meet that? What is your client going to get? What is the value that they are going to get from working with you? Everybody's not a Walmart. No, shout out to Walmart. Everybody's not a low-cost leader. Sometimes you have to ratchet up your game and be somewhere in the middle, but allow yourself some negotiation, a cushion. Maybe you come in a little higher than, that you feel that you should, but then that gives you some leverage to go and ratchet down. What would you suggest when people are trying to figure out what to charge?
Oh, that's one of my areas of genius. Okay. So so the thing is, how I tripled my income my second year in business was to look at what I did in the first year. So I knew my numbers. I was able to look to see what I had. But the one of the things that I did was I didn't look at what other people were charging for bookkeeping services. At that time, I was still offering bookkeeping services. What I did was say, how much money do I need to make for the entire year to support myself and to support my business? So I needed to support both places. What does that look like? That created what I call a financial floor for business and for personal. And then I said, how many days a week am I going to be, or how many days a week am I going to work? How many hours can I work? I want to have a life that I love, so I'm not going to be working 60 hours a week. What am I actually going to do there? And so this is where math comes in. It's not complicated math. You just start dividing it backward till you know what your daily amount needs to be. And then you look at how many hours and you say, well, this is what I need to charge. Now, if you come in lower than what the norm is for the community that you're in, perfect. If you come in higher, well, then you have to look at that. Maybe you need to hire some help or something. But if you come in higher, this is where speaking to the value of what you bring to the table comes in. I never had trouble selling my services at the highest price point in the community, higher than most bookkeepers were getting, because I bring this wealth of experience, knowledge, skills, and empathy for their situation. I know they don't like doing the bookkeeping. I know that's not their thing, but I'm honest, I have integrity, and I'm a trainer. So I teach them how to take care of their money better. I protect their money for them. I never had a problem selling to the value of what they got. So setting your price, that's the way that you're going to do it if you're an in-service provider. And if you're already in service and you're still not making quite enough money, then raise your prices a little bit, 5%, 10%, something like that. But it's all about growing your business, scaling, adding additional services. For selling a product, that's where you start looking at what is the standard for the product you're selling. However, I worked with a baker and he came to me and they were telling him he had to cut this and he had to do that and he had to cut this because he wasn't making enough money. And I said, you're not charging enough. You're using the highest quality of products. Okay. You're well known in the community. You pay your employees well. You need to raise your prices. And I said, if you raise your prices by only 5%, I guarantee nobody's going to walk. And they didn't. And he made almost another $250,000 a year just by increasing his prices a tiny little bit and not cutting it. So a lot of the experts were saying, cut the value. And I said, no, never cut the value, sell to the value.
Exactly. I was working with a baker. Funny, she was selling cupcakes out of her home.
Mm-hmm.
And she did not set goals.
Right.
We set goals. We gave her a target amount.
Mm-hmm.
We had her sell to value. We had her streamline her marketing so that she was consistent. I mean, she had a logo and a color for every cupcake that she had. No, you're not recognized by your brand. You're all over the place. She had 2 or 3 other, subsidiaries, little businesses. You need to have an umbrella company and everything be cohesive.
Yep.
Because when people are looking for you, they're looking for Coca-Cola. They're looking for Nike. They see that check. They don't even need to see Nike. They know exactly who that is. It is branding and it is being consistent. Consistency is the key. Can you speak to them also too, please, about paying them taxes? People just, for some reason, they think it's their own little personal slush fund because they're going through PayPal or they're going through Venmo or they are doing a GoFundMe, or they're getting cash. Let me tell you, the IRS knows every little nano hair that goes through. Okay,
well,
can you tell them the importance and the significance of that?
So you never have to pay taxes if you don't make any money. Okay, so if you're broke, if you're living below the poverty line, if your income is below the poverty line, I'd say don't worry about it. And what I find is that people are worried about paying taxes. They don't like it. They may not think it's fair, but they just really hate doing it. The thing is that you're going to pay taxes if you're making money. And the more you pay in taxes is a reflection of how
Yes.
much money you're making. So let me ask you, would you pay 20 cents, maybe 30 cents, to have somebody give you 70 cents? Okay,
Yes.
now you just start adding zeros to that. Would you pay $2,000 to get, $18,000? So it's the cost of doing business, and
Right.
you have to build it into your revenue model. You have to say, okay, this is how much I need for my financial floor. I'm going to pay this amount in taxes. This is what I need to make. And then basically, I'll say, just get over it. Hire a good CPA, plan for your taxes, know that you're going to. And I will tell you that playing fast and loose with your income, okay, and not reporting what you're making will eventually reach around and bite you on the ankle.
That's right. Oh, well, I'm glad you went low down to the ankle because I'm telling you, they know what is going on. And you know what? This is my thing. I don't enjoy paying taxes like anybody else. But when I look around at how I luxuriate, when I look around and know that I have a nice car, that I've got nice clothes, that I can eat anything that I want, that I can go in and sign my name and know that they will give me credit because I have good records, I am a good bookkeeper, I am legitimate, it makes you feel a certain kind of way. But when you have to dodge the mailman, or you're worrying if you're going to get your W-2 check garnished because you haven't done a certain thing. There's no joy in that. There's no joy in that. And
There's
again, my CPA taught me the same thing. He said, you know what? The more you pay in taxes, look how much money you have actually made. However, can you find uh, value and did you do the right thing with the money that you made? Did you make the right investments? Did you save? Do you have something that you can say that you rewarded yourself for instead of just tricking it off?
exactly. So, that's having a life that you love. That's lifestyle planning. Planning and goal setting works both for businesses and for our lives. And you do have to spend some time assessing what you value and how you want to live, and how much money that's going to take to do that. But in backing up to taxes, I would like to remind people that we live in a country, okay, where our roads are paid for by our government, that primary education is paid for by our government. Okay, we have a lot of services that maybe we don't pay any attention to that are being paid for by our tax dollars. And so we get some value. Now, do I mean to not pay attention to how much you're paying, to absolutely have a professional help you manage that? That's their job. Their job is to help you pay the lowest amount of taxes that you can while making as much money as you can. The the thing that I find that when people start worrying about their taxes, I don't want to pay that in taxes, I don't want to pay that in taxes, they stop paying attention to the place where they have power, and that is in revenue generation. They can make as much money as they need. Money is not a finite conversation. It is just not. Time is, but not money. And the thing is that business owners have more power in revenue generation than ever before. Okay. There are, in the US, there are 35 million small business owners. And I'm not talking about the big mega corporations. I'm talking about small business owners who provide 70% of all jobs. Okay. This is an amazing a piece of our economy, and they can make a difference. They can live their purpose. They can hire people. They have money to spend, which helps other people and other businesses. And so stop worrying about the taxes and pay attention to revenue generation.
Exactly. And your revenue generation comes with innovation and creativity
Yep.
and investing.
And that's That's limitless. Creativity and innovation is the sky's the limit. Whatever you can dream of, basically, I believe this, pretty much anything that you dream up that you can
Mm,
provide as a service,
that's right.
okay, you can monetize.
You can monetize it, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to figure out who needs it, who is that customer. I mean, you think of the toothbrush, you think of even bread for a sandwich versus a bun for a hot dog. They're
Mm-hmm.
both bread, but look at how they do. You have to be always thinking. And there's no dumb ideas. The only idea that's dumb is the one that you don't give, lead credence to. In your kids, speak to them quickly about encouraging the next generation of leaders, our little people. They live in a different world than we grew up in, Lorna. They grow up with a device. They don't know anything about a dial telephone. They don't know anything about the yellow pages. They know nothing about the Encyclopedia Britannica. They live in a different world, but their needs are different. And even the currency, in my opinion, is going to change to cryptocurrency because of the destruction of the dollar. Okay, and the trillions of dollars of debt. They're going to have to shift that in my generation, next generation, but there is going to be a different form of currency. It used to be beans, it used to be feathers, it used to be,
Salt,
cattle. Yeah,
salt.
salt. Right. But
You're
now look
worth
at
your weight in salt. That's what
absolutely.
the Roman soldiers were paid in salt.
Mm, mm, mm.
In
So tell
salt.
them just how can we encourage our young our young children to be entrepreneurs and to be excited and to really kind of build a foundation at an early age to be able to have, expendable income or additional income as they get older.
Well, I think the way I would speak to that is that we are seeing a real shift, okay? That we, because of these devices and things that we have more time. Now, I would encourage them to limit the time that they're playing games, although that those do build hand-eye coordination, and I don't have a problem with that. However, just spending 24 hours playing some kind of a video game is not going to carry them forward. So keeping them in activities, helping them to belong to groups, that is always useful. But the thing I think I would like to point out here is the traditional way of thinking about businesses was you have to have the systems, the structures, the financial skills, and that's the only thing that matters with running a business. And in actuality, that is not the truth. The truth is that what we care about, what we're passionate about, how we want to live our lives, living from a positive conversation of possibility and living into our potential, that's where we're going to see that shift begin to occur. It's already started. It's been around for a long time. That people with good hearts, with brains, started noticing that it was more than a conversation about systems, structures, rigidity. This is what we do. This is the way we do it. There are no other alternatives, when in fact there are alternatives. So when in raising our young people, we want to be sure that we're encouraging them to get that self-awareness, to understand what the beliefs are. I grew up believing a lot of things that just simply weren't true. And one of the things that we still encounter a lot of is this concern about what my self-worth is, what my place is in the world. And years ago, I saw this thing and it said, "You are unique and special and cannot be replaced." When we acknowledge that every single person brings forth that uniqueness, that specialness, okay, and that they are irreplaceable, when we raise our children to realize what their self-worth is, they can do anything. They can
Anything.
be the best employee ever. I was a happy employee. I was a happy employee. In the legal field, people come to attorneys when they're in trouble, when they're in distress, when they've had a car accident, when things have gone really, really badly for them. Our job was to take care of them when they walked through that front door. The attorney's job was to apply the law, to help them. The job of the staff was to make sure that everything worked seamlessly so that the attorneys could do their jobs without worrying about, did the papers get filed on time? It's terrible when they're not. So our job was to support them. So I love being an employee. I learned a lot being an employee. I've learned so much by being an entrepreneur and a business owner in the past 15 years, and having had that opportunity to work with hundreds and hundreds of business owners and helping them, build those. So that's my specialty. My area of genius is building systems and structures and making sure that people have the financial skills. Okay.
Perfect
Sure.
segue.
Yeah.
Perfect segue. So tell my brains how to get in contact with you. I'd love for them to work with you, to come on board, to consult with you, have a conversation. Again, brains, you don't know what you don't know.
Well, the fastest way is to Google my name. So it's Lorna, Lorna Whitaker, spelled Whiteaker. However, just remember that I believe that you should stop trying to run your business out of a shoebox. Know your numbers, grow your businesses, make money. So my business name is businessbeyondtheshoebox.com.
Businessbeyondtheshoebox.com. So you move those stilettos and those Uggs over, baby.
Yeah.
And
So
put you on some soft loafers and get to work.
yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lorna, for being here with us on the edge. I think that you are a superstar. You are on fire.
Thank you.
And we can learn so much from you. This is not the beginning. I mean, this is not the end, Brains, but only the beginning. I want to have you to come back to give us the next chapter. Are you going to write a book? Are you going to have an online course?
I am. With your encouragement, I am going to write a book. I have started it. I'm just going to stay more focused on it over the next few months. And I don't know whether I'll do an audio book. That was a really good recommendation that you made. So I'm looking at that. I'm having an absolute blast. It's my pleasure to help business owners, level up, change up their game, have a good time, have a business and life they love. That's my commitment to them. I'm dedicated to that.
And my commitment to you is to have you come on the edge, listen to other edgy conversations where people are moving and shaking and innovating. There's so much out there. Don't be afraid. Feel the fear, yet do it anyway. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. Set goals for yourself. When you achieve those goals and you look back on your journal or your notes, you are going to just be in awe. And it's going to push you to thrive, to do more things. Thank you so much, Lorna Whitaker, for being here on the edge. You are the best.
Thank you so much for having me. You take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, brains.